Right, so we welcome, as our first speaker this evening, Tom Harwood.
Thank you, Tom.
There was only going to be one place I could start, Paris. It's the example that happened most recently, and so it's the example we remember the most about. 130 people were killed, with 89 people killed in the Bataclan Theatre alone. The backlash was immediate. It only took 2 days for the French to start bombing targets in Syria. And now Britain is in Syria too, because we support France. I'm not saying it was a bad thing to support France at all. But for me, I think we rushed in a bit too quickly. However, it must have felt good to hit back against something that shocked and hurt a lot of French families, though it couldn't have been any more predictable in the way we reacted. All of those events took place on the same day as the Paris attacks. These are problems which don't even hit the news in Western countries. It takes something really nasty to appear to make us notice these problems, like this. That little boy had to drown to make us notice temporarily the refugee crisis. It's died down again. And so now it seems we're waiting for another tragedy or massacre for it to be brought back into the public eye. These sorts of images appear a lot in the media. The one on the right was taken in London, and the one on the left was taken in the aftermath of the Tunisia shootings. These especially come up in the media when debates start being stirred up. These are naturally also going to breed some type of fear. Evidence from a survey shows that over half of British people believe that Islam clashes with British values. The only way to challenge this is by showing pictures from the other side. The picture on the left was taken in Oklahoma, and the picture on the right was taken from a march in Kurdistan, in the heart of the Muslim world. The Oklahoma photo was taken from a march to promote tolerance after the Republican Party started to target the Muslim minority in the country. Why is it we don't see more of those type of photos? Surely it would make everyone feel much more comfortable. On the day of 9/11, a family of 4 was kicked out of their apartment following the attack. What's weird though is that they had been living in that building for 7 years. You'd have thought their neighbours would have probably realised that a family of 4 would have been unlikely conspirators. The fact that the picture on the right in Kurdistan, a largely Muslim country, it seems that all the scary executions are much more important to the media than the quiet, local and undramatic efforts done to stop it. Positive outcomes of Paris. Perhaps I phrased that strangely, but we have to use it to address it or what it stands for. 130 people were killed, but it brought attention to the larger issue as a whole. It also gave the opportunity for defence. The hashtag "not in my name" also appeared, which was used mostly by Muslims during the debates that happened, and potentially it can resurrect itself during the next set of debates. Sadly, perhaps, it was necessary for a tragedy to occur to allow for a greater discussion of that issue. Weariness. All of us have something to say on Islam. Our people, our friends, our family, people all over the world have something to say. And rightly so, perhaps. However, some of us have people who we know who are Muslim. People who we could think of no likely less to be than an angry, up with Sharia law protester who roots for the guys who killed Lee Rigby. Out of 1.57 billion Muslims worldwide, around 106,000, that's 0.00006625% of them have links to an extremist party. And for us to target the vast majority of them, based on those few actions, is playing ISIS's own game. What I feel, I am wary. I'm happy to admit that. But no more wary of someone that supports UKIP. I'm pretty atheist. I don't really understand it. I don't really support many religions. But that doesn't necessarily matter. What I want to hear is more opinions, and more facts, and more stories. Whether they come from refugees, survivors, or witnesses. I need to time that better. Explain. These are the people that can affect these facts, these opinions, and these stories. The media holds sway. Naturally, we live in a Western country where we naturally trust the media, but we have to be able to trust what they say. ISIS, Daesh, Al-Qaeda, the Taliban, they're going to continue to try and spread fear and impress their way of life. And that's their point. They're terrorists and not an army. Governments, they are effectively in charge of what happens. They could place thousands of troops in a Muslim country and it could be a huge mistake. Out of 650 members of parliament, only 13 are Muslim. And that's definitely not enough to provide the other side of the picture. Moderate Muslims, perhaps an odd one to include. But are they loud enough in their counter demonstrations? Are they loud enough when they criticise? I'm certain it would make a lot of people feel much more comfortable if they saw this criticism coming from people supposedly their own community. Should there be someone to blame? As I said with the scary executions, perhaps it's pointless now to focus on how it happened. The issue of it being spread is much more important than who's doing it. As Franklin D. Roosevelt said, perhaps the only thing to fear is fear itself. We are at a stage where critical decisions are being made, perhaps decisions which we don't have a say in. And we are the next generation to make these decisions. So, can we or should we try and change the public's attitude on Muslims? I'd say hopefully, and I think we should. It's an important issue. However, I think it would be possible to change. However, I can't confidently say how we could go about it. Something could happen though in the next few months or in the next couple of years that could completely turn the tables and make us become the country, the tolerant country we claim to be. Our future depends on it. Thank you.